Hello and welcome to Spartiecast with our special guest today, Swati Pandita. Dr. Pandita and I have been working together for many years, and you've been part of the Spartie lab for many years. So it's a great pleasure to have you, Swati. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And anytime, still, it's been a couple of years since I've now graduated from Cornell, but when I hear Dr. Pandita, I'm like, oh, that's me.
Yes, indeed, that is you. And where are you today, Swati?
So I'm in Champaign, Illinois, and I'm a postdoc at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I work at the Virtual Futures Lab, which is led by one of our favorite collaborators, Dr. Dominic Cow. And my research focuses broadly on avatars and embodiment, but more specifically within the context of mental health and emotional well being. So, really happy to be here and talk research and avatars and whatnot.
Yes, lovely. Yeah, thank you so much. So we've had a couple of restarts here on our recording
That's when you
attempt.
solo practice.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have to do that again. I'm still learning how to manage audio on OBS. But tell me, what type of virtual experiences are you having these days?
Let's see. So I would say not enough virtual experiences. It's been a minute. But I am looking forward to developing a virtual environment for emotional expressivity.
Hmm.
Um, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Upcoming, I am going to participate in the Meaningful XR conference, which you and colleagues have been spearheading at the end of this month. In terms of other virtual experiences, I've mostly been working and observing others' experiences with avatar creation and customization. Probably the most recent would have to be, and I'm kind of calling myself out here, but the recent Pokemon games like Poketopia and whatnot, I've been looking at their avatar customization interfaces and seeing what types of avatars people are making. So yeah, that's where I've
Okay.
been in the virtual space.
Ah, very nice. And you'll be joining us virtually for the Meaningful XR conference a bit.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, and remind me, you've been part of that the for the last 2 years, right?
Yes, so I helped with organizing the first one at Stanford, which you were spearheading. Last year, I did not get to attend, but I did um, kind of help in the. I would say I didn't get to be as mm, part of it in the second year, but this upcoming year, I'm going to attend. I got to meet a lot of cool people that first year too.
Yeah,
Just in the
VR
development.
researchers, people who are doing education and health in XR.
And practitioners,
Mhm.
not only within the US, but also outside of the US, especially Japan. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, yeah. And the platform that we use to support the virtual meetings in VR chat, this space that we built called Beyond Meet Space, we'll be using that again. And this is
Hmm.
actually a really nice trial run for me to remember how OBS works because that's how we set up the virtual world. We stream in, just like I'm streaming this podcast to
Oh,
YouTube,
wow.
we stream in the video of speakers and of the camera of the room itself into the virtual world instead of into YouTube. Well, actually, I guess it is through YouTube, and then the YouTube gets displayed in the virtual world. Um, and so, yeah, it's a useful skill to both to do to do this kind of like public oriented discussion of research in the podcast context, because it helps generate skills that we can use in these other ways, like at this conference.
I'm excited. So at ICA last year,
The
which I can't
International
believe it's
Communication Association. Yeah.
yes. Can't believe it's been a year. We got to talk a little bit more about Beyond Meat Space and try all the cool kind of interactions you all had designed in there. I'm really excited to try out that kind of amphitheater like area, if that's going to be part of it. Um, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty exciting. Yes, it's like streamed on YouTube, but to be able to react and be in a shared space with others, co-locate, well,
Hmm.
co-telepresence,
Yeah.
um, that will be pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But enough about our stuff together. Tell me
Yeah.
more about you. What have you been up to for the past few years?
Ooh, I've been up to a lot, I guess.
Since you graduated from Cornell with your PhD in communication and a focus on virtual reality and avatars, what have you done?
So after I graduated from Cornell, and I worked in the virtual embodiment lab under Dr. Andrew Stevenson Mom there. I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to my roots and really understand social neuroscience and affective neuroscience. So I joined as a postdoc actually at the Fear Lab at Caltech, and the focus there was mainly like anxiety responses. So very basic psychological research with a focus on neuroimaging methods. So what's the link there? When I was in college, I studied cognitive neuroscience, so I was always really interested in how does the brain represent reality and how do we make
Hmm.
sense of reality, particularly within the context of social interaction, right? We all have multiple realities, and it's quite interesting to see how we want to represent ourselves, how we are represented, and the same thing for others. Um, so that kind of led me to work on a project on social media and well-being, and the focus there was a little bit more on kind of chat-based social media.
Hmm.
So I did take a slight diversion from virtual reality, but I kind of tied it all together with embodiment, right? So this kind of concept of the sense of having a body and using that to both inform and understand communication. And then after my time at Caltech, I was very fortunate enough to be working with you and other collaborators in on VR work, and I pretty much realized, oh, I really miss avatar research. Um, so I decided to take another postdoc with Dr. Cao at the Virtual Features Lab, and so now what I'm studying is back to back to my roots in a way, understanding how people want to represent themselves in virtual environments, who those decisions are important for, and more specifically, how identity representation can or in some cases cannot be helpful and related to mental well-being. Um, that's a lot to unpack there, I
Hmm.
realize. So I guess I will leave the next question up to you.
Yeah, yeah, there's so much to unpack there. Well, it's nice to hear about your work with Dominic. Dominic is a longtime collaborator for me as well, and we've thought about audio avatars. So like,
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate that we're having audio issues here in this call, but yeah, the
But
idea.
maybe that's why it's front and center.
Yeah, exactly. Audio matters so much. It's an unsung hero of virtual experiences. Um, but yeah, so what's going on with you in Dominic's lab there related to avatars and the worlds you're building? Tell us more detail.
Hmm. couple of things. So, I'm going to take a quick tangent and say that avatars are really cool for understanding metacognition. So, basically, how I think about myself, how I want to be represented, but also how I think others think about me,
Hmm.
um, and how I might think about others. There are a couple of orders of cognition there, but avatar psychology is awesome, and that's kind of the focus of my work at the Virtual Features Lab. So one project that I kind of plugged is this emotional expressivity project. We are still kind of deciding whether or not we want to use avatars in this space per se, but we do really want to focus on whether or not it's helpful to embody emotions in virtual spaces and what kind of interactions we want to do with that. The kind of contextual problem we're trying to address is um, pretty relational in nature. So really expressing their emotion um, and helping them be able to do so in a virtual environment. I don't want to get too gendered here, but I think the easiest, most relatable example is for people in relationships, and sometimes they might be complaining that their partner is not expressive enough, and they want more meaningful connection or whatnot. And a lot of the time, it's not because people don't want to; they don't know how. And it's actually, emotional communication is a skill. I'm finding that is to be learned. So how can we give people new ways to visualize and express? There's some preliminary work on changing the environment to show visual metaphors like, oh man, I'm having a really bad day but I can't really express it, so it just kind of feels like there's a cloud over my head and things are rainy. You can't do that in real life, but in VR that's easy, right? And it communicates so much. So that's one project we're working on. Another project that we're
Hmm.
working on is actually thinking about avatar color, and how avatar color is being used in customization context, but more specifically in any type of social virtual reality. This one is more of a scoping review because, color is something that we know is important and we think about. Um, but as avatar researchers, we haven't really defined how, or defined might not be the right word here, but I would say justified why we use color,
Hmm.
um, and report how we're using it. And I think we all know as VR researchers, there's so many elements and facets that already, um, what's the word that I'm looking for, that affect how we perceive color. It's not just the, math of color or the science of color, but also the meaning making of color.
Hmm.
And right now we kind of mention, hey, these are some best practices, and other people have used this, but even just the nitty gritty of like, did you use a certain skybox or lighting, or what kind of color values, um, and how do you know that red means this in XYZ context or whatnot. So just really trying to, the other half of the work is trying to help improve methodological rigor. I
Interesting.
talked a lot, so
No, that's
I
very
hope you're
useful.
still with me.
I am so with you. So emotional expressivity, color expressivity, relating to avatars, or maybe not. Um, I want to pause our stream here. So I think let's pause. Let's say this is the end of part one, and if you want to jump on part two, everyone, it's going to be not under live. It's going to be under the recorded videos for Spartie Lab, and we're gonna try something else because I've in the background fiddled a little bit and tried to make our audio levels a little more similar because audio avatars matter, right? And we want to have
Yes.
parity here, right? We
Yeah.
don't want to have one overbearing avatar, namely me. So end of part one now, and then we're gonna come back with part two in a moment. I have a new idea.
Okay.